Welcome to A Fathered Home, a podcast from Faith and Flow, where heaven meets moms in the real world. I'm Marlies, and every week we spend just a few minutes together discovering practical, faith-filled encouragement to help you renew your mind, strengthen your heart, and walk a little closer with God. Let's dive right in. Today, I would like to introduce you to Bob. So Bob is this little character guy that lives inside your mind. And Bob says things like, I'm not good enough. I can't. She's better than I am. I'm stupid. I'm not as smart as she is. All of those things that are not empowering you, that not serving you. This comes from this little guy named Bob that lives inside your mind. And Bob is just a little baby. So we can't get angry with Bob when we hear these things come up in our minds because Bob is just a baby. And being a baby, Bob doesn't know any better. He doesn't know what's going on in the world. We are much smarter and we learned and we grew up. And even your children, that's children are still older than Bob and wiser than Bob because Bob is just a baby. So every time that these things come up, I can't, I'm not in the mood, I'm tired. Then you say, bye-bye Bob, here's your bottle, here's your dummy, go take a nap. Let me put you into bed. And I promise you that this is the most effective way to control unwanted thoughts. So we have the difference between empowering thoughts and disempowering thoughts. Anything that empowers you, that serves you, comes from yourself, your soul. And everything that's not are ideas formed from the outside world, from influences, from how we grow up, the experience of I have to be the best, I have to look the best, I have to be smarter than someone else. Ideas that came into our minds from external forces, I want to say, external experiences. We were born perfectly with a self-serving, empowering soul. So you have these two things in your mind, and Bob is the one that all the disempowering stuff comes from. And although I don't want to, and I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, everyone else is just better than I am because they have all the money and the cars and I can never, those train of thoughts comes from Bob. So you can, in your house, have this discussion with your children. It works for the grown-ups and for the children. So in your house, have the discussion about this little character, baby character inside your mind. And sit with your kids and find your own name for this character. We call it Bob, but you don't have to call him Bob. It can be a girl, it can be an alien, it can be a little monkey, whatever you want to make this other character. And then every time that your children tell you something like, I can't, I'm too tired, then you say, bye-bye Bob, I think it's time for your nap. Talk to this other character as though it is really a baby and teach your children to do the same. It's very effective. Because it's a baby, you can just like you would normally a baby, it's time for your nap, here's your bottle, here's your dummy, let's put you to bed. Instead of, because I know that this happens with moms, your child tell you, he can't do something, and you start like this whole preaching thing, you can do anything, or you just start screaming. It's default mode that we are trained to do. Go do the thing that I tell you to do right now, kind of thing. So rather use this tool as an emotional regulation for yourself as well, to not address your child directly when things happen that you're not happy with. Rather refer to that little character in his brain and start talking to the little character in the brain instead of just screaming at your child. and also to control the unwanted thoughts. And this works so good for moms as well. Anytime when those things come up, you just put your baby to bed. Put your baby to bed. I know who I am. I'm not, listening to you because you don't know what you're talking about. You're a little baby. Okay, so that is Bob. And that's the whole story of Bob. I want to give you a quick example, something that happened, a very practical example, so you can understand the power of this. About a year ago, I think it was last year, winter, my little boy was 6. And it was winter, and it was cold, and it was early for school. And I was just not in the mood for school that day. The kids will tell you these things, but I didn't want to get up and get dressed and go to school and drop the kids. It was too cold. So what I did was, instead of waking my little boy, I got into bed with him. I just slipped into bed with him. And he woke up a little bit when I got into bed. And I said, no, let's just sleep, because he wants to go to school anyway. You're not learning anything at school. Screw school today. It's just, no, we're not doing school today. And he, in his sleep, said, bye-bye, Bob. And it was such a powerful moment for me that he gets this, and how he reprimanded me in a way that he just said, bye-bye, Bob. Mommy, we should get up now. It's school time. And I got up and I did my thing because the moment was just over. But this is very powerful. Teach your children to really buy into this idea. Of course, it's not real. We're making this up. But it's a make-believe thing that is extremely powerful for you to use. It's a technique to control the unwanted thoughts, and a little bit of emotion with it to help address the issues, so that you don't have to freak out with your child, just with a baby. And we don't freak out with babies, we just put them to bed and let them sleep. Thank you for spending these few minutes with me today. If this episode encouraged you and you'd like to continue your journey, you'll find faith-filled journals, Bible studies, guided resources, and more at the Faith and Flow shop. And if you're a mom rebuilding after divorce and would like personal support, I'd love to invite you to book a free clarity session with me. You'll find all the links down below in the show notes. Until next time, keep flowing with faith, and may your home always be fathered by His presence.